Hi, kindergartners. We're going to do a lesson today on what we call language arts. So I'm going to read a story and we're going to pay attention to what makes the sound of turn into the sound of I. And we'll also I'll remind you of how we'll look for nouns. Remember, nouns are person, place, or things in the story, okay? So I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to show you the story right now. And the story is called My Summer Camping Trip. Now, as I try to maneuver with the book, I'm going to have to put this like rock on the book to keep it flat a little bit. So it might be a little wiggly sometimes. But remember, this is the sound of okay? Sound of And then let's say I have some words over here that have that in there, and I'm gonna go with, let's say one of the boys' name is Mike. Now, if it was M-I-K, his name would be Mick. But when we add that silent E at the end, it changes the to I, and he becomes Mike. And you can see I have a few words right here that change the to the I sound because of that silent E. Okay? Let me read them real quick, and then you can maybe identify with those words when I'm reading the story. Summer, time, Mike, campsite, time, ride, miles, drive, pine, outside, arrived, 9, white, stripes, side, size, fire, nice, pile, liked, fireflies, ignite, bedtime, excited, inside, outlines, tired, rise, and 5. Wow, that's a lot of words where the sound has been changed to an I because of the silent E. So let's start the story. This is called My Summer Camping Trip. And I'm going to turn and look at that. What's that? What are they doing right there? Looks like something fun they're doing with the flashlight. We'll figure that out in just a moment, okay? All right. Here, the first page. Here we go. This summer, Mom, Dad, Mike, and I went camping. We packed our van with tents, sleeping bags, and backpacks and set off on the long drive to get to the campsite. So drive, campsite are 2 words that I just said, okay? Drive and campsite have the silent E at the end. Here they are, getting all packed and ready. Have any of you ever been on a camping trip, huh? Or maybe even stayed at a tent in your living room? That's kind of fun too. There's a soccer ball. Mom packed a picnic basket and we snacked and sang songs to pass the time. There's the silent E. Time on the ride. As the miles went by, there was less and less traffic on the drive. There were pine trees. Pine also has that silent E. Trees and rivers and hills outside. At last we arrived. Dad stopped the van at the campsite number 9. Remember, that silent E wasn't there, it would be number 9. And told us it's time to set up camp. Mike and I picked a flat spot for our tent, right there, under a big pine tree. Our tent was a little tent with red and white stripes. We put our sleeping bags inside by side. So there's the side, and if the silent E wasn't there, it would be Sid by Sid. How about that, Sid? And there's the picture. Mom and Dad tent was a bigger size. There's another silent E. They picked a flat spot next to the pond and set the big tent up there. They have the big people tent. By the time our tents were up, it was 6 o'clock. Mom asked me and Mike to collect sticks and logs for the fire. It's not a fur, it's a fire. We set off into the trees. Squirrels ran up tree trunks as we went past. There's a squirrel. Looks like they're collecting wood. I'm sure that squirrel's probably eating an acorn. When we got back, Dad had set up a ring of rocks as a fire pit. It was getting to be dusk, and a fire would be nice. There's that silent E. So there he is, making the ring of fire. That ring is usually stones to keep the fire from spreading, just to make sure they're being safe. Dad stacked the sticks and the logs in a pile inside the ring of rocks and lit them. The fire crackled and snapped as it got hot. Mom had a grill rack to put on top of the fire to grill hot dogs and buns. I had never had hot dogs grilled on a fire. They were the best hot dogs I had ever had. I liked the hot dogs, and I liked, there's that silent E, the smell of the fire. And I liked the light that the fire cast on us as we sat around it. But what I liked the best was dessert. We stuck marshmallows on long sticks and put them into the fire. The marshmallows got soft as they got hot. They stuck to our fingers as we pulled them from the sticks and bit into them. Have you ever roasted marshmallows? Huh? Have you? After dinner, Mom handed me and Mike flashlights and buckets. She asked us to go to the pond and fill the buckets and bring them back to the fire. Oh, look who was observing and watching them. Woo-hoo. The light from the fire glinted on the ripples on the pond, and fireflies blinked in the night. There's the word fireflies. There's a silent E right there. Or we also like to call them lightning bugs. Why do you think they're getting the buckets of water? Back at the campsite, we dumped the buckets on the fire to put it out. Yeah, that's right. Mom told us that we must put out the fire so an ember would not jump from the fire pit and ignite the trees. There's the silent E. Instead of being ignite, it's ignite. Ah, there we go. That's the safe thing to do. Put the fire out before you go to bed. At last, it was bedtime. Silent E. I was so excited to be in our tent. Mom and Dad tucked us in, then they zipped up the zipper on the tent flap. Inside the tent, Mike and I snug into our sleeping bags. We had fun casting outlines, there's the silent E, of animals on the inside of our tent with our hands and our flashlights. Have you ever done that? Made shapes on the wall from a flashlight or from a lamp? Huh? Looks like they're making a bird right there. When we got tired, there's the silent E, we clicked off our flashlights. As I drifted off, I was excited for the sun to rise. There's another silent E. And to have 5, another silent E, more nights of company. And I hope that all 5 nights we would have hot marshmallows for dessert. Beautiful night. Full moon. And we did. So, we learned something about the silent E, making the I sound and I sound. And now, let's go over let's remember if we can identify some of the nouns in our story. First one I have here is a flashlight. Yeah. They used that in the tent. Fireflies that came out at night. They made a fire. Okay, that's a noun, that's a thing. A grill rack is a thing, it's a noun. Logs. A squirrel is a thing. A tent is a place. Red and white stripes are things. Hot dogs, yes, that's a noun too. A bucket, campsite 9, and backpacks. Those are the nouns that we talked about. And if we were at school and we had more time, we would remember the sequencing. Well, we can do that real quick right here, okay? First thing, they packed. I'll put that in order. This helps us to remember the sequence. They packed. And then they found a great place for their campsite. And the kids set up their tent. And remember, it was red and white striped. And here's their tent right here. And then, as they were gathering wood, they saw a squirrel. And here they are gathering the wood. And then they made a fire, right? And then Mom had a rack to be able to cook the hot dogs on, right? And then she said, remember, they were the best hot dogs that she ever had. And then they saw the fireflies. And then they put the fire out with water. And then they made pictures with their hands using the flashlight on the tent. All right? All right, friends. Well, that was kind of fun. We'll have to have maybe an imaginary camping time, okay? Maybe you guys like to make forts sometimes, huh? I know I like to do that. All right? So, anyway, I also will have another video for you guys to look at too. It's a science video, all right? That has to do with making solutions. I did that also for my Room 5 class, okay? So everybody be well. I miss you. Take care. Bye-bye.